Welcome back, dear students. This video is for class 10th subject science chapter number 10, light, reflection and refraction, and this is lecture number 3. So dear students, in previous lecture we have studied about the spherical mirrors and their important terminology, and the topics that will be covered in today's lecture are: the first thing that we will do today is we'll understand the rules to obtain images in case of concave mirror. Then we will see the image formation using concave mirror, and we will also see their applications. Then we will understand the rules to obtain image in case of convex mirror, and then we will see the image formation using convex mirror and their applications. So dear students, in previous lecture we have studied that for the formation of image in case of any type of mirror, the meeting of reflected rays is necessary. For producing the image of a point, at least two reflected rays coming from that point, after reflection they should meet at a point. Then only we will be able to form the image of that point. So let us first consider the case of concave mirror. As we all know that concave mirror is a type of spherical mirror whose inner surface is reflecting. So I am making dashed line at the surface which is not reflecting. Now here, as we have to know a few things about an image, that whether the image is real or virtual, it is erect or inverted, and the position of the image. These three things we want to find out for the image. So to obtain these 3 points, here we have 4 rules which will help us to form the image of an object placed at different positions in case of a concave mirror. So let us discuss the first rule. So as you can see here that we have a concave mirror, there must be a pole and center of curvature of this concave mirror. Then the line passing through the pole and the center of curvature, which is called principal axis. So this is our principal axis, this is our center of curvature, and this is our pole. We also know then the half distance between C and P is called our focus. This length is called the radius of curvature, and this length is called focal length. So here the first rule is that when the light rays coming parallel to the principal axis, they incident on the spherical concave mirror, after reflection they pass through focus of the spherical mirror. So let's say we have an object. I have told you that how to make an object in case of making a ray diagram. So this is basically a ray diagram, and when from this point the parallel rays are coming and incidenting, they incident on the spherical mirror. Now according to the first rule, when the parallel rays are coming, after reflection they will pass through the focus point of the spherical mirror. You must be thinking that why only incident ray is coming in this direction? Don't we have the light rays coming in other directions? Yes, we do have light rays coming out at this point in all the directions, but as these rays which are going in different directions do not matter for us for forming an image of this object, because our mirror is placed here. Now, this is the first rule. The second rule says that when here the same way we have the center of curvature, focus point, pole. This is also the case of concave mirror. So here the second rule says that when the light coming from the object, that is our incident light, falls on the spherical mirror from the way passing through the focus, then after reflection they go parallel to the principal axis. So here this incident ray is coming through the focus and it incidents on the spherical mirror. Now after reflection it will go parallel to the principal axis. So this case is just opposite to the first one. Here in the earlier case we were having that incident light was coming parallel to the principal axis and after reflection it was going from the focus. Now the light ray is coming from the focus and after reflection it goes parallel to the principal axis. So the third case, the third rule is that the incidence light comes in such a way that it passes through the center of curvature. This way. So as we all know that line joining the center of curvature and the spherical mirror's surface is a normal on the mirror's surface. So now this incident ray is falling on the spherical mirror normally. So it will retrace its path, as we have already understood this concept, because this light ray has to follow the law of reflection. And according to the law of reflection, the angle of incidence should be equal to angle of reflection. So here if it is falling normally, then it will have to be reflected. It will get reflected by an angle of 90 degree. So it will retrace its path and after reflection it will go back through the center of curvature. One thing to remember is that when a light ray is incidenting normally, then angle I would be 0, and as I is equal to angle R, then R must be 0 degrees Celsius, as the incidence light ray is making a 0 degree angle with the normal of the sphere. Now we have the fourth rule, according to which we have the concave mirror. This is our principal axis, pole, focus and center of curvature. According to the fourth rule, when the light ray incidents at the pole of the spherical mirror, then it gets reflected back with the same angle according to the law of reflection. So as you all know that this is the normal on the spherical mirror. So let's say it is making an angle I with the normal. So it will get reflected by an angle R, which is called angle of reflection, and according to the law of reflection, angle I would be equal to angle R. So this way we have studied the 4 rules. Keep them in your mind when we are doing the formation of images at different places. So the first rule was that light ray was coming So the first rule says that when light ray is coming parallel to the principal axis, then after reflection it will pass through the focus. Second rule says that when the light is incidenting through focus, then it will reflect parallelly to the principal axis. The third rule says that when incidence light is coming in such a way that it passes through the center of curvature, then after reflection it will retrace its path and will pass through the center of curvature. Now the fourth rule of image formation says that when light ray falls on the pole of the concave mirror, then it gets reflected with the same angle. So these are the four rules that we have to take care, or we have to choose any two. Dear students, now let us begin with the image formation using concave mirrors. Here in front of you I have made a table at the right side. Here there are four things: the position of object, the position of image, the nature of image, and the relative size of image as compared to the object. Here I have made 6 horizontal columns, 6 rows are there and 5 columns are there, and in each of them we will fill the details according to the ray diagram that we are going to make using the 4 rules that we have just now studied. So depending upon the position of the object at different places on the principal axis of the spherical mirror, we will have different kinds of images. So let us begin with the first position. Now, first let us keep the object at infinite distance. So what happens when an object is at infinite or very large distance? Now here, what do you mean by infinite? Because here we have a limit to focus the light. So when the distance is very large as compared to the radius of curvature, then we call it as infinite distance. So here, if we place an object at infinite distance from the spherical mirror, then almost parallel rays will be coming from that object placed at infinite to the spherical mirror. So when the incidence rays, they are coming parallel to the principal axis and they are falling on the spherical mirror. So that object might be a bigger one. So the radiations which are coming parallel, according to the first rule, because we have to choose any 2 rules from the 4 rules that we have studied. So here I am applying the first rule, that when incidence light is coming parallel to the spherical mirror, then after reflection it will pass through the focus point. So this radiation will also pass through the focus point after reflection, and this radiation is also going to pass through the focus point. So here at the focus point we are getting a cross section or a meeting point of 2 reflected rays. So this will be the image of the, so here the image of the object which is placed at the infinite is formed at the focus. Let us fill the table side by side, that when we placed an object at infinite distance, then we found that the image is formed at the focus. Now we have to tell that whether the image is real or inverted. So we have done one example. Then we considered sun as an object and we tried to obtain a brightest spot on a paper, which was the image of the sun actually. So here you also have observed that the spherical mirror is a kind of a spoon having the inner surface as the reflecting one. So it will always form an erect image of the object at its focus very clear when the object is very far away. So here the image, as you can see, that real cross section of the reflected rays is happening. So the image is real. Must remember that real images are always inverted. And you can see that this is a point image. So it is highly diminished. So this is our first case. Now let us move on the second case of image formation. Now let us move the object from infinite towards the spherical mirror, and let us place the object here beyond AB, beyond C, that is center of curvature. So we have to write here beyond C we have placed the object. Now again we have to choose two rules to form the image of this point of object. Now the first rule that we can take is that incidence rays parallel to the principal axis will pass through the focus of the spherical mirror. And the second ray that we can take is the ray passing through the center of curvature. Now, as we know that incidence light coming from the center of curvature retraces its path and passes through the center of curvature only. So here we get a point of cross section of these two reflected rays. So here the image formation will be there, and what point will be formed here? As it was A point of the object, so it will be A dash. We have to make a perpendicular on the principal axis, and that will be our B dash. So the position of the image is between C and F. You can find it out that this is inverted and real. Comparatively diminished or smaller than the object. These are the three characteristics of any image that you have to tell. Now let us move a little ahead and we place the object at C, that is center of curvature. So we have placed our object at center of curvature now. Now let us again take the two rules among the four. So the first will be same, that parallel incidence light will pass through the focus, and the light ray, the first rule will be same, that incidence light coming parallel to the principal axis will pass through the focus, and the second rule that we can choose is that light ray coming through the way of focus will reflect back parallel to the principal axis. So here you will find that the image of A dash of A dash will be obtained here. The image point is A dash and it is the image of point A. So we have to put a perpendicular on the principal axis. We will find the B dash, or here this will be B only. So here you can find that the image is formed at when the object was at C. The image was formed also at C, real and inverted, and this is of same size as that of object as it is visible from this end. Now let us move a little ahead. We'll place the object now between C and F. Now we have placed our object AB in between the C and F, that is center of curvature and the focus. So we have to again choose two rules out of the four. The first that we can take is the same, that incident light comes parallel to the principal axis and will pass through the focus after reflection. Now the second ray that we can choose is that the light ray incident on the spherical mirror in such a way that it seems to come from the center of curvature. So this is the incident light. After reflection, it will retrace its path and will pass through the center of curvature. Now what is going to happen, that when we increase these two lines, here you will find that they meet at a particular point. I have again made a diagram which is smaller so that this distance can be viewed by you. So here the same thing is happening. Radiations, incident light coming from the point A is falling parallel to the principal axis on the spherical mirror, so it will pass through the focus after reflection. The second ray comes to the spherical mirror in such a way that it passes through the center of curvature. After reflection, it will retrace its path, and these two lines, reflected lights, they meet at this particular point when we keep on increasing them in this direction. So here we are getting the image of A, that will be A dash. So we have to again make a perpendicular on the principal axis, that will be our B dash. Now you can see that when we keep an object between C and F, the image is forming beyond C. This is just opposite to this case. When we kept the object beyond C, the image was forming between C and F. Now we have kept the object between C and F, image is forming beyond C. So we have to fill the table as well. So the object was between C and F, then the image is formed beyond C. Obviously it is real and inverted and enlarged or magnified. You can say that this is enlarged or having a greater size than the object. Now let us move ahead. We'll keep the object now at the focus point of the spherical mirror. So when we keep the object AB at the focus of the spherical mirror, again the same thing will happen, that we have to take incidence ray parallel to the principal axis. After reflection, it will pass through the focus. The second ray will be in such a way that it comes from the center of curvature. So after reflection, it will retrace its path So you can see that the light ray will retrace its path and pass through the center of curvature, and these two lines, when we increase them in this direction, they are parallel to each other. That means they are not going to meet in a limited distance. So we'll suppose that the reflected light rays will meet at infinite distance. Again, this is the just opposite case of the first one. that when we kept the object at infinite distance, we obtained the image at f. Now we have kept the object at f, we obtained the image of object at infinite distance. Obviously it is real and inverted. And as these two lines will meet at infinite distance, this will be very low below the principal axis, so it will be highly enlarged. Then this next point is that can we move the object more near to the spherical mirror? Now let us see what happens. Now when the object is placed between pole and focus, again we have to choose the 2 out of the 4 rules to obtain the image. One is, let's say this comes to the pole. Why I am not taking the first rule? Because when the incidence ray will be parallel to the principal axis, then the reflected ray will pass through the focus. But the object will hinder or will provide a hindrance to the reflected ray. So we will not obtain any image. So we are choosing the next one. Here the incidence ray is falling on the pole, so it will get reflected with the same angle. The second ray is that when the light ray falls on the spherical mirror in such a way that it passes through the center of curvature. You can see it here. Now for the spherical mirror, this radiation seems to be coming out from the center of curvature. So it will retrace its path and will pass through the center of curvature after reflection. Now if we enlarge the reflected rays, we produce them further, then we will find that distance between the two reflected rays is gradually increasing. That means they are not going to meet in this side. But we have to make an image, so we have to retrace the two lines, reflected lines. So let us retrace them. Now let us retrace this as well. So this way we are going to get an image of the object now here. So when the object is between F and P, the mirror is forming the image behind the mirror. So we have to write behind the mirror. It is erect, and erect images are always virtual. So we have to write virtual and erect. And this is also highly enlarged. So these are the 6 positions of the object for which we can obtain the image in using a concave mirror. You can also see here that the images obtained are as same as the object, smaller than the object, highly diminished, enlarged, or highly enlarged. That means a concave mirror is a type of spherical mirror which can provide the various size of images formed. So this property of concave mirror can be used in various applications. Now let us study the applications of concave mirror. So the first application of a concave mirror is in reflectors. Reflectors which are used in motor or any vehicle headlight, searchlights and torch. Why? Because a concave mirror converges the red radiations coming parallel to the principal axis or coming incidenting parallel to the surface. Now, how does a reflector work? That if we are having a reflector, this inner part is the reflector, and we put a bulb in this way. In case of torch, searchlight or a motor head, then motor headlight, then what will happen? The radiations which will go to the reflecting mirror, as this lamp is placed at the focus of this curvature or spherical mirror, as these are coming from the focus, they will pass parallel to the principal axis after reflection. So this way we are going to get a focused light which is used in motor headlights, searchlights and torch. This parallel beam of light is used to illuminate the road ahead of the vehicle. The second use is as shaving mirrors or makeup mirrors. How do we use a concave mirror in that case? Because we know a concave mirror is a type of spherical mirror which can provide the enlarged images of the object. So in case of shaving or makeup, we want to see our face. A smaller portion should look greater so that the shaving can be done properly or the makeup can be applied easily and professionally, like we can focus on the finishing of the makeup. So in that case also we are using concave mirror. Then the third application is in solar cookers. What happens in a solar cooker? That we are having a reflecting surface, the sun radiations are coming to it, or let's say the solar cookers are placed in this way, and here we will place our cooker in which the food is to be cooked. When the radiations from sun are coming and striking the reflecting surface of the concave mirror, the converging mirror, concave mirror will focus them at a particular point. And this is how the heat at this particular point will be generated and the intensity will increase, which will help the food to get cooked. The fourth application is in hospitals. In hospitals, the concave mirror is used by dentist or ENT, ear, nose and throat specialist. They used to have a concave mirror so that they can see the smaller portions of our body parts and they can treat them well. So this is how concave mirror is very useful for us, and these are a few applications of a concave mirror. You are supposed to find some more applications of concave mirror. Now let us see the image formation using a convex mirror. For obtaining the images in case of a convex mirror, now let us first study the rules to obtain the images in case of convex mirror. So convex mirror is the part of a hollow sphere whose outer surface is reflecting and inner one is an opaque surface. So here we have the focus, center of curvature. Here also we have the same 4 rules, that the light ray, when it falls parallelly or incident parallelly to the principal axis, it will pass through the focus. But as we all know that this is the reflecting surface, it will not allow the light to pass through the focus. So what will happen? The light ray will get reflected in such a way that when we retrace it back, it will appear to come from the focus. So this is how it happens. Now the second rule is that when the light incident in such a way that it falls on the point of spherical mirror, so that if we extend it in this side of the mirror, this will pass through the focus. Then it will get reflect back parallel to the principal axis. So this will reflect this way. When the light ray will incident on the reflecting surface of the concave mirror in such a way that if we extend it, it will pass through the center of curvature, then the light ray will retrace its path and reflected on the same way. The fourth rule is that when the light ray is incidenting on pole of the convex mirror, then it will get reflected by the same angle. This angle I will be equal to angle R, that is angle of reflection. So these are the 4 rules to obtain the image in convex mirror. Now let us understand the image formation using a convex mirror. In this case, we just have 2 cases. The first case is the object can be placed anywhere between the infinite and the pole of the convex mirror. And the second case is the object is placed at infinite distance. Now let us see the first case. We have the convex mirror, as this is the reflecting surface. Now these dash are representing the non-reflecting surface of the mirror. So when the object is placed anywhere between infinite and the pole, let's say it is placed here in front of the mirror, then we have to again choose 2 rules out of the 4. The first is that when it incident parallelly to the principal axis, it will get reflected back in such a way that when we retrace it back, it will pass through the focus. So this is how it gets reflected. The second ray is, let's say it falls on the pole, so it will get reflected with the same angle in this way. This is our reflected ray. But these 2 reflected rays are getting diverged. They are getting split. So they are not going to meet in this side. So what we have to do? We have to trace them back, and they will meet in such a way that the image is obtained as A dash and B dash. So the image will be between P and F, always wherever you place the object in front of the convex mirror between infinite and pole. So between P and F behind the mirror highly diminished and virtual, because the reflected rays are not actually meeting. We have met them by retracing them behind the mirror. So, virtual and erect. So, these are the characteristics of a image formed using a convex mirror. The second case is that we have placed the object at infinite distance. So the object placed at infinite distance will provide the almost parallel incident rays coming to the spherical mirror. So as we all know that these two lines should get reflected back in such a way that when we retrace them back, they should appear coming from the focus. So they will reflect back in this way, and they will meet at the focus point if we retrace them back. So when the object is at infinite distance, we can obtain a virtual. If it is virtual, then it will be erect. Virtual and erect image at focus behind the mirror and highly diminished, or you can say it as pointed image of the object using a convex mirror. So now you can understand two things, that convex mirror always gives the virtual and erect images. The images formed using convex mirror are always smaller than the object, and you can see here that reflected rays are getting spread up. That is why this mirror is called divergent mirror. Now on the basis of these properties, there are applications of convex mirror. Now let us see the applications of convex mirror. So the first application of a convex mirror is as a rear view mirror, or it is also called driver's mirror. Why so? Because as we all know that convex mirror provides a very small erect image of the object. So a driver can use this kind of mirror to obtain the image of a vehicle coming from its behind, and this will also provide the image erect, smaller, and this will allow the driver to see the side view of that vehicle as well. So this helps the driver to drive. So that is why convex mirrors, they are used as rear view mirrors of the vehicle, and they are also called as driver's mirror. The second use is in street lights. We are using convex mirrors because when we use a convex mirror, as its surface is like this, if we place a lamp here, then all the radiations coming to the reflecting surface will get diverged. Let's say these radiations are striking, so they will go in this way. So this way it is diverging the radiation, allowing the more area to be illuminated. That is why the convex mirrors are used in street lights. The next use is, you might have seen a very shiny mirror which is having a bulging out surface outside, and most of the time you might have seen this kind of mirror in the big shopping stores or outside the storage godowns. These kind of mirrors used in shopping stores to keep activity check in the store. So these were the few applications. You have to remember one thing, that the field view, that other than the object, more area is visible in convex mirrors. When we use a plane mirror and we obtain the reflecting light coming from the point object to it, then this will not cover much wider range. So this is the field view of a plane mirror. But in case of a convex mirror, when this happens, the more wider range is covered using a convex mirror. So this is how we are getting a large field view using a convex mirror. So the things to be noted are that field view of a convex mirror is large, and the complete smaller erect image of an object can be obtained, which is very bigger in size, using a convex mirror only. So this is all about today's lecture. We have studied the rules to obtain the images in both the cases, concave and convex. Then we have seen the image formation in both the cases using convex mirror and concave mirror. Convex mirror, there are two sets of the image formation, whereas in concave mirrors we have 6 different positions for which we have obtained the image and its characteristics. We have also seen the applications of both types of mirrors. Now let us see today's homework. So dear students, as today's homework, your first question is, name a mirror that can give an erect and enlarged image of an object. Question number 2 is, why do we prefer a convex mirror as a rear view mirror in vehicles? The third question for you is, question number 3 for you is that you have to draw the ray diagram of image formation using concave and convex mirrors. All the cases, 6 in case of concave mirror and 2 in case of convex mirror, and make a table for the characteristics of images obtained when we kept the object at different places. So you have to do this. The homework solution of previous lecture is explained in a different video. So I'll see you in lecture number 4 of this chapter. Till then, take care and goodbye.